Workforces is overwhelmed today because of a lot of technology challenges, while customer expectations is rising. And with the third wave of agents, we have an opportunity to make a difference. And that's really where Agentforce comes up. Agentforce, with the power of our Salesforce platform that's deeply unified across our API, data, and applications, offers the ability to truly be the digital labor platform. As we grow from a human only workforce to a human plus agent workforce, it opens a lot of challenges. The traditional software is changing from going from structured data to structured and unstructured data. The logic of workflows are going from deterministic to undeterministic, and UIs from being purpose built to really multimodal and near zero cost. And we always thought maybe an LLM can just solve all these problems. While it's true that for consumer like scenarios, you can just go to ChatGPT or Gemini and ask the question, it doesn't quite work well in the enterprise scenario. We look at the LLMs as really like a CPU in a computer. Just a CPU chip is not going to make a difference. While it's a critical part of it, you need other things like your hard disk. That's where data is. And similarly, in your enterprise context, you need a place where you can bring all your enterprise data together with its metadata and semantics. You also need all of the APIs, just like a computer needs peripherals devices. You need all the APIs and automation. You need analytics, and you need the application context. But that alone is not enough. Then you really need that agentic layer, which can basically take all that right data and supply it to the large language model and to be able to reason around it so that it can actually make a difference and drive an outcome. And around all this, you also need a trusted platform that's secure, that offers all the guardrails, including compliance, residency, and so on. And that's really the founding block, if you may, for Agentforce. But as we all know, Salesforce doesn't operate in a vacuum. In an enterprise context, you're going to have a diversity of data, diversity of APIs, diversity of models, and so on. And so we have architected it from the ground up to be truly extensible, whether it's multi-geos for compliance residency, whether it's zero copy at the data level, whether it's open API connectivity, including APIs and MCP systems, or whether it's like bringing your own LLM, we have an open platform. And that's really Agentforce is all about, from APIs to data to applications and a full connectivity to the rest of your enterprise. And if you can really see examples like RBC or Remarkable, they have bet on Agentforce to really change their business. How does it work? Now, if you go to help.salesforce.com today, you could see that all the answers in help.salesforce is actually powered by Agentforce. And that's helped us a lot because this has brought in over 700,000 articles. Before, you used to get links and you have to go search and figure out the answer. Now we can get the answer for you. And that has saved us a lot in terms of amount of escalations that have reduced to humans. But the way Agentforce really works is you can start with conversations. It could be human conversations, or it could be triggers based on changes to data or some events that are occurring elsewhere, like maybe a web click. Regardless, you then get into that reasoning loop, the agentic loop, if you may. The agentic loop really understands your questions or the actions to be performed, and it figures out what action to actually take. The action could be looking up a data piece. Action could be calling an API. It could be invoking a workflow. It figures out what set of actions to go take, and then the outcomes derived. Either it's a response back to the user or it's some actions that are taken behind asynchronously, all observing trust and security at every step of the way. But the actions, and particularly data, is not just simple because it's no longer just about structured data running SQL queries. It's also unstructured data. The ability to vectorize it becomes important. And we have built a sophisticated RAG system in the data cloud layer to be able to handle the plethora of complex documents so that our reasoner and our planner can really understand those and be able to go resolve over it and give the right answers. And in many cases, even escalate to a human appropriately. And like many others, the agentic journey for Agentforce starts with what we call as knowledge agents, which is about simple agents that can answer questions. It evolves to action oriented agents that can now start taking actions reactively based on user demand. But then the more interesting thing is are these autonomous agents where you can now start taking actions proactively in the background automatically for the user. Now, what is an agent? An agent is really a set of roles on which the agent works on. Could be a service agent, could be a sales agent, or and it needs a set of data to be able to go access it. It has a set of actions that it can take, a whole bunch of guardrails on what actions it should or should not do, and the channels that it interact with. Is it WhatsApp? Is it text? Is it web? And so on. With our platform, we bring that all together very easily. The other thing to also understand is that this is a complex platform we have built along with the bringing your own models, the trust layer, the reasoning layer, a whole studio experience around it, along with all the custom skills library and instructions as well. At the overall level, you get a complete Agentforce platform along with all the pre-built skills that you can now go use. Plus, we also allow you to be able to go take actions on the skills very easily by getting it from the app exchange. We call it the agent exchange, where you can now exchange skills and be able to go quickly incorporate it into your agent force. Finally, Data Cloud becoming an integral part of Agentforce means that you can bring all your data from wherever it may be, whether it's structured data or unstructured data, whether it's streaming data or real-time data or batch data or even zero copy, where if you have your own warehouses, lake houses, they all become Salesforce metadata, and you can quickly harmonize them, unify them, and be able to go take insights on them and finally act on them across all surfaces, lightning surface, agentic experiences, or simply just run flow trigger actions on all of them with full data governance as well. Now, enough said, let's actually go see this in action. I'm going to be starting with a health scenario. I have a health agent here where we have a hypothetical customer here, which is Cumulus Healthcare, as you can see, and I'm going to be logged in as Harper Clark. Harper Clark is a diabetic patient, and she has a whole bunch of questions regarding her upcoming visit with the doctor. So first, normally she'll have to call somebody, go ask a lot of questions, but with Agentforce, she doesn't have to do that. She can literally go to the website, go to Agentforce, and ask the question. She's asking a question: when is my upcoming appointment with Dr. Brown? Agentforce is quickly coming back with her full appointment date, the doctor, the copay, all of those details. But it's not just limited to structured questions. She can ask questions like, hey, what diabetic lifestyle is best for me, low carb or balanced diet? Given her diabetic thing, and given that she's going to see a doctor, she remembers, oh, the doctor said something. Let me go figure out what my lifestyle approach should be. Agentforce seamlessly is able to go answer not just structured question like this, but also an unstructured question. And as you can see here, the answer is even personalized based on her profile of being 50-year-old female with these allergies and issues. So as you can see here, Agentforce can bring in both structured and unstructured together. Now she goes a longer way, but one interesting thing to note is that the actual data about her appointments was not even in Salesforce. It was not in Salesforce core or data cloud or anywhere. It was sitting in a Snowflake instance. I'm showing you a Snowflake instance here where you can see this was the appointment that was created. Now, just to show how real it is, I'm going to go update the appointment to go change it from United Health to Aetna, changing the appointment date. So I've updated that in Snowflake. I'm going to select it again. And as you can see here, you will have the new updated Aetna PPO. Now, when she goes ask the same question, hey, what's my upcoming appointment with Dr. Brown? You should see that it should have been updated now to the latest, as you can see, Aetna copay with Boston Medical. So it's a zero copy where agent is able to, with Data Cloud, pull in data from across your enterprise very easily. Now, we also talked about the unstructured data. Remember when she asked about the diabetic lifestyle? That came from a lot of this unstructured documents, PDF files, and others that they have indexed in. We'll show you how all of that works as well. But that's not all. Now, as she goes through it, she has a whole bunch of questions. She remembers that she has to get an appointment with an orthopedic specialist, and she asks Agentforce for some appointment. Now, in this case, this is not a knowledge lookup. This is actually an action. As you can see here, Agentforce actually created that somebody is going to follow up. Behind the scenes, what Agentforce did was actually create a new lead. As you can see here, right today, created at 11:35 a.m. It created a new lead automatically, so somebody would from the orthopedic department would follow up. When I click on it, it's a new lead that got created with Harper Clark with all of those details regarding what she was asking for. So somebody could actually go follow up. So you can see here, this is Harper Clark, the lead. And as you can see here, if you look at the details, you will see it's talking about the orthopedic specialist here. So that's an action in there. Now, there are more things going on. Harper Clark would like to actually, she got married, and she needs to go add somebody to the healthcare plan. And it actually gives you a great example of what to do. But she also has other questions. She remembers the doctor asked her to actually bring all her medical devices. So she asks a question as to what to do with the medical devices. So she's asking, could you please show me all my active medical devices? And here again, this medical device is sitting in some other system here. Agentforce, with the power of Data Cloud, is able to go quickly retrieve the medical devices. This is interesting here. It shows you 3 medical devices. Just remember this because I'm going to show the power of data governance later, how what she's seeing will be different than what the human agent is going to be seeing. All right, that's great. She got all the devices. And now she's also remembering that there was a diabetic trial that she was interested in joining. Now, she asked the question, except in the case of a trial like a diabetic trial, Cumulus Healthcare requires that a human is involved in making sure that people are eligible. So what we are going to do is Agentforce is going to escalate to a human. I'm actually online right here as a human. And Harper is going to say yes. And immediately you're going to see that in the Service Cloud console, as you can see here, this came up. Now, as a human, as a service representative, I can now click accept the conversation. I can now start asking question about Harper, like, hey, you were interested in diabetic trial, is that right? Yes, I am. And now, as you can see here, the human agent is now going to open up the employee Agentforce for employees, and he or she can now ask interesting questions. Now, the question we're going to ask is that, can I get all the medical report and details for patient Harper Clark? This is going to go look up all of the details of Harper Clark across all of your enterprise data and pull in all of those medical history and details. This is interesting because normally people would have to go look up a lot of different systems. And now in one shot, I can give it. You can also see a lot of these critical ID, etc., is masked because we have a governance policy that is masking all of that detail. And we got that. Great. Now I'm going to ask the human agent is asking about all her medical devices. Remember, when Harper Clark asked the medical devices, we only showed 3. Now, when the human agent is asking, you can see here, we're seeing not only Harper Clark, but also Emily Clark, who's a dependent on our account, and we're able to see all of it. Again, this is all protected through data governance. That's great. We saw those. Now, quickly, I also want to go look up the most recent notes from Harper Clark's daughter. These recent notes are actually audio and video files, as you can see here, stored with regard to the thing. If you can listen to it, you would see it's an audio note.
Patient has had uncontrolled diabetes for years despite adherence to metformin and empagliflozin. Last HbA1c reading was 8.5%. No history of GLP-1 therapy, but interested in new treatment options.
As you can see here, the doctor had given all this, but Agentforce, through the power of Data Cloud's unstructured stack, is able to quickly summarize all the notes from her doctor. Now, this was great. Now I need to make a call on what to do. Now I'm just going to ask Agentforce that we're looking at the eligibility for the type 2 diabetes trial, and let's see if it is health qualified. Now, this is a very complex question because this is going to go look up all the rules for the trial. It's going to be looking up at her personal details and really coming back saying what might be the best match. Remember, we're still letting the human in control. Agentforce is just helping bring all this together to be able to make the humans much more efficient so they don't have to go read pages and pages of trial documents and so on. Now, as we wait for it, it's going to quickly come back and then give a qualification for Harper Clark that she's going to be eligible either in tier one or tier two based on her thing. As you can see here, it's conditionally eligible. And the reason it's eligible because it's she's like kind of matches this based on her H1BA readings and so on and so forth. And so this is a preliminary eligibility status. That's great. Congrats, you're eligible. And I'm going to say, I'm going to enroll you. Harper Clark is super happy. And she ends her conversation, right? So that was a simple illustration of a lot of power behind the scenes. And we're going to walk through each one of them. But before that, you might ask, saying, oh, is this only my web chat interface? My customers don't use web interface. Not a problem. We also support email. You can simply go send an email. And then behind the scenes, we have the emails get converted to a case in Service Cloud, and then you can attach an agentic response. The same agent responded to me there could be now attached to the email. So basically, what you can do is you can come see the events. You can actually, the Agentforce will be reacting to those email events, and you will be seeing a response back based on the healthcare needs automatically. And this is all happening behind the scenes. In addition, it's not just email, you can also have a voice medium. So here I have the voice agent here that's also available. So you can actually do not just voice, you can do WhatsApp, you can do SMS, you can do web, you can do multiple channels. And in the case of this web voice,
hey there, how can I assist you today?
Hey, can you give me the appointment with Dr. Brown?
Here are your upcoming appointments with Dr. Jessica Brown.
And as
Appointment
you can see
date,
here,
June 12th,
this
2025,
voice medium,
2 p.m. EST. Dr. E. Jessica Brown.
as you can see, I'm going to cut there. As you can see here, this voice is also looking up that same set of data and topics. So whatever I showed you in the web, if I may go make the updates in Snowflake, it'll get reflected as well. Whether it's the same with your email as well. Whatever the thing is, because it's the same agent that's powering your email, your web, your voice, all of your other channels as well. So how did this all happen? Let's go through each one of them. Now, let's take this is our Agentforce Builder experience. As you can see, every agent has a whole bunch of topics, as you can see here. And then within each topics, you have a whole bunch of actions. Actions can be APIs, actions can be data lookup actions, or it could be workflow actions and so on. And as I type in a query here in the builder to say what's my upcoming appointment, as you can see here, this specifically chose medical appointments as a topic based on my question. And within that, it knew it had to go get scheduled appointments. This get scheduled appointments is doing a query on Data Cloud to go fetch all the relevant data. So how did Data Cloud now get all this data? The way Data Cloud works is that you can connect all of your data very easily through this thing called a data stream. With data stream, you can bring in data from across your enterprise without having to go create complex ETL tasks. It literally, you just click, connect, the data flows. Now you could bring data from your marketing. You can bring data from one or more CRM instances. In some cases, you can bring in from upwards of 20, 30 different CRM instances as well. And you just have to click, all this data flows. In less than 60 seconds, any update will show up in Data Cloud. And not just that, you can bring data from your web or mobile in sub-seconds, in milliseconds, or you can bring in data from all of these hundreds of different sources. More interestingly, if you have a source such as Snowflake or Databricks or Google BigQuery or Redshift, you don't even have to copy the data. You literally can point to that particular data, and you can basically say, make this table available for me in Data Cloud. This is what is called as zero copy. In this case, we're simply just bringing the metadata in and leaving the data where it is. As you can see here, I have a lot of different data streams in my org. Some of them are copied, ingested. Some of them are zero copy, direct access, as it's called. We also have a caching option with direct access so that you can actually cache the data if you're frequently accessing it to not have to keep going to the source all over again. But you can bring any amount of data from any source. But the power is that we're putting a metadata layer on top of it. What does that mean? Let's take this object called contact. It is what we call as an S object, a Salesforce object. And if you look at the details of it, it just looks like any other Salesforce entity you will create. And if you look at the details, it's coming specifically from one Salesforce org. Great. Now, if I go into this particular data stream, healthcare medical schedule appointment, again, it looks like a Salesforce object. If I look at the details, you would see it's actually coming from a Snowflake instance, that Snowflake instance that we showed earlier. Or if you look at this particular object, a personalization behavioral events, it's actually coming from a website, a JSON feed coming from a website in in sub-seconds. But regardless of how the data is coming in, remember this was ingested, zero copy, sub-second stream, it's all tagged as Salesforce objects. So that means you can use all the power of Salesforce that you know and love. But that's not all. The problem often happens is in an enterprise, you're going to have different kinds of schema for the same object. Like say contact. It's called a contact in one sales cloud, which may have a bunch of fields. Your other sales cloud, service cloud instance may have a different set of fields. Your marketing will call it subscribers. So many different things. Just for something as simple as a user, we allow you to map these things into what we call as a canonical reference model. So we ship over 200 of these out of the box models, including verticals for health and auto and everything else. Now, with the mapping, what you're allowing is the ability for systems to then automatically bring in data from many sources and just create a logical representation. So now I have the power to look at the individual, everything they've done with the business. Imagine this. Each circle here is like hundreds, if not 10 or 20 or 30 different sources. Doesn't matter. Now I have one harmonious way of looking at all my data in my enterprise. With this, I can do a few things. One, I can now start doing things like governance policies. For example, as the data is coming in, we can auto tag all of them on the canonical model. We can start classifying taxonomy, and we can start putting different policies. For example, we could say things like redact all characters, that's data masking, or don't show this like extra devices to people who are calling from an individual thing, as an example. All that is possible. Along with this, you can also start doing things like identity resolution. Because with the power of identity resolution, what you can actually start doing is really unifying the user base. What identity resolution allows you to do is to then say, if there are multiple IDs across the system, unify them so you have one golden record. Now, with the power of the golden record and the governance that you have, you're now able to get a 360 view with security across your entire data plane. Now, with the power of that, you're able to then quickly answer the question when I said, what is my appointment with Dr. Brown? But that's not all. Remember, I asked an unstructured question earlier. How did that work? That worked because we go through the builders. You can see here, it looked at the topic. It was able to go pull up what is called as a retriever. We have a built-in search index that you can now create in Data Cloud across all of your data places. In this case, it was all the healthcare medical internal records. And then the system was able to simply do a search automatically on top of that to be able to go bring in the right answer. So this is all built right in. And then we have a very sophisticated RAG mechanism to be able to handle complex pieces of data like those with tables, with images, and many, many more. That's how we handle all the unstructured content. So with the power of the data, structured and unstructured, we're able to bring all this together holistically with Data Cloud. But that's not all. Remember, we also was able to ask about the orthopedic specialist in Builder. In that case, we had an action in the Builder, which was the lead creation action, as you can see here, under the specialty referrals, as you can see here. And this particular action actually pointed to a flow to be able to go create a lead. And that's what the Agentforce calls when I said I needed that orthopedic specialist. In this case, it created a lead and also posted to the right Slack channel. So you can actually have agentic actions also built right in without running a single line of code. Remember, till then, I did not write a single line of code to make all of this happen. But that's not all. Now, remember, once you created these agents and you want to be able to go understand what people are talking about, whether the agents are also working. And so we have out of the box something called an interaction explorer, that an agent command center, where with interaction explorer, you can actually quickly see what are your top ranking topics, bottom ranking topics, why, and maybe people are asking these things, it's very low. And you can start clicking on it, really understanding the topics and tags, and be able to go at an every moment level and really see what people are talking about and why did it not work. And remember, the masking is applied even here as an example. That's not all. Now you can also create tests for your agents very easily, because you can easily use AI to go create the test and keep running them efficiently. Now, to make all of this possible, all the data, the feedback from the agent is also getting stored in Data Cloud. And we are able to use the power of both the Data Cloud triggered flow actions as well as the Data Cloud based analytics on top to make this happen. As an example here, with the schedule things, you can actually go alert yourself there is too much toxic alerts, too much toxic content, or rack people is not happening. All of that can also work out of the box. So that's a quick overview of how Agentforce was working with the power of Data Cloud to do both structured questions across the enterprise, unstructured questions, and you also saw how Agentforce was able to take flow actions automatically. But like I said, all the agentic behavior is flowing back into Data Cloud, which is how we were able to go do all of these interactions, analytics, testing, as well as flow actions. But it doesn't stop there, because as you can imagine in your enterprise, you want to be able to go market to all the people, to go create the top of the funnel, go sell them things, and then have those agentic experiences along the way. And all that is possible for every aspect of your user persona, starting with your marketing. I can easily create segments either using visual builders or using Einstein as well. Now, as you can see here as an example, I have a segment here that's looking for diabetic topics, where I can bring in, simply drag drop all of the data here to be able to go create the segment. And you have inclusion, exclusion, you have segments of segments, waterfall segments, real-time segments, batch segments, all that is possible very, very easily. Now, once you have the segment, then it's trivial for you to go activate those segments across our plethora of activation targets, from all the way from LinkedIn, Google ads, display ads, Amazon ads, and many, many more. But the power doesn't stop there, because we have the ability to be able to go look at all of those activation points and be able to also bring in data about those segments through those activation points as well that no one else has. Now, in addition, we also can actually use with our new marketing cloud that runs on core, you can even create all of these campaigns along with segments, everything just using our agent experiences. Now, that's not all. Now, once these agents are created, you can, of course, actually start looking at the marketing performance of all of them. You can actually do communication governance for all of them and use our agentic analytics on top of it to be able to go understand which campaigns are working or not working and what you should be doing about it. All that is powered by this thing called a semantic model that runs on this data cloud data. Now, as an example here, this is our marketing cloud semantic model that was powering all of these marketing dashboards here, and these questions that I was able to actually ask on those marketing cloud examples. Now, speaking of marketing cloud and Tableau, let's just dive a little bit deeper in Tableau. Tableau Next is totally built on the Salesforce platform. It is an agent first experience built all on the same stack. As you can see here, I have a whole bunch of appointments booked, all backed by these various different SDMs. These SDMs, you can actually create them yourselves, the semantic data models. So you can actually create an enterprise-wide consistent definition of all your KPIs very easily. Once you have that, you can now do a lot of interesting things. You can actually embed these dashboards, because Tableau is now built right in. I can go embed these dashboards right in my lead account or an account entity or other places. All the security, data governance is all just built right in. Not just that, I can also take any one of these, like, for example, this flu appointment as an example, and go link them in Slack as well. Now, once I do it in Slack, I can actually, as you can see here, I can actually look at the Agentforce analytics, start querying them. I can start understanding who is all using them. If you look at the metric details, it's going to actually say who actually works on those metrics and so on and so forth. Not just that, I can also go back to Agentforce for analytics and be able to go to the concierge agent. Actually, you can start asking questions as well. In this example, I have all the Agentforce analytics for healthcare agent. I can actually ask questions like which health with agents is doing well or not, and all of those things. So that's the power of how Tableau, along with Data Cloud and Agentforce, is able to meaningfully actually answer not just your questions automatically, but be able to go embed in your series of work and create an enterprise-wide data KPI definitions using our semantic data models. That's not all. We saw marketing, we saw Tableau, but let's also look at sales. What happens with sales? Now, as you can see, as you've sent these awesome campaigns, whether it's marketing or ad tech campaigns, people end up on your website, they start browsing your website and they start looking at it. And you want to be able to have these personalization, as you can see here, because I clicked on all of those insurance benefits, you saw this got personalized. Personalization can expand to not just your web, your mobile, everywhere else, how you respond to emails and so on. And that is driven through this new personalization that's again built right on Data Cloud using this thing called a data graph. A data graph is something that in real time, in sub-second real time, is pulling all the data together about a customer, about a profile, about an account, and it's holding it in memory. So that when I did that click on that particular insurance thing, it came through all of those Data Cloud things. It got updated in this real-time graph in memory. And then the personalization system then looked at it and said, based on that click I did, let me go change the personalization point, the decisioning point, and it basically gave this recommendation of the image in sub-seconds. And so now it's great. You have a personalized view. People are great. They're doing all of that stuff. What you can also do is you can actually use the Data Cloud triggered flows to be able to then say, if somebody is actually browsing, doing something interesting, please go create a lead. This is what Salesforce itself is using. And we are able to decrease the lead capture from which used to be in 20, 30 minutes now to down to a few seconds using the power of Data Cloud triggered flows. With this, I can actually say if somebody's interested in doing all these browse, go create an alert to a particular AE or call it in Slack as a case may be. We also have the power of what is called as prospecting center that's built right in where you can actually basically automatically classify the leads. You can also have SDR agents that are running, automatically sending emails, qualifying the leads, and then bringing the right leads to the human. Once the leads come, now you can actually have a 360 view. Remember before you had Harper Clark, but now I can actually see all the real-time activities of Harper. I can see all the website engagements, many, many more. Not just that, now as a sales user, I can actually send a quick email as well. Now with the power of this email, I can actually draft it with Einstein. So as you can see here, I can quickly just say, please create me an email based on the quote or engagement and many, many more. And simply I can, the power of our prompts built right on top of our platform is able to then generate these powerful emails that the sales team can now quickly send. As you can see here, it automatically pulls all the data to send it. So as a human, I get assistance here as well, in addition to the Agentforce for employees. And that continues on to service because you've done sales, you can continue with service. Somebody files a case, automatically Agentforce with the power of Data Cloud is able to bring in all the relevant knowledge articles to help resolve the case. And remember, we also showed the service agent itself helping resolve it for the customer. But if it gets escalated to human, we saw before how it was able to help that human agent. But in addition, it also pulls in all the knowledge as well. Finally, all of this is also integrated into our vertical industry applications such as Health Cloud. So for example, with Health Cloud, you can actually have this Charles Clark, which is Harper Clark's dad. And you can see here with the patient card, all the 360 views of it. In addition, we also can have the IoT signals from a glucose monitoring, other things coming into Data Cloud and getting reflected here and automatically creating all the care observations. As an example, I can now go simulate this example for Charles Clark, where his machine submits a 150 weight and 212 glucose category, and this will get updated here in the real-time charts. And not only that, I can actually start creating a record trigger flow on this and really looking up all of the details and doing an auto scheduling of a home visit because his diabetic machine showed that he was his measurements were off the scale. So we can even schedule an automatic visit with this. So this is how all of these things can come together into this holistic platform. You saw the ability of APIs and flow along with data cloud, bringing in all your structured data, your unstructured data to the power of agents and your applications together in this one holistic platform. Thank you.